Let's come back to some...
Jordan's life, yes.
Yeah,
I have
exactly.
a couple of questions. Can I go?
Yeah.
All right. So you Jordan, you've had two very different lives, right? So before and after prison, can we say that?
Sure.
Okay. So did you make that change on your own, or did someone help you along the way?
Good question. I think the change occurred before prison and then was reinforced tremendously in prison, and especially when I wrote the book. So I got sober in 1997. So before 1997, I was a fucking wild man. You know, I was doing drugs all the time, partying like a rock star, doing things, and just like, you know, honestly, you start off and 95% of what I did was perfectly legal. It was this little 5%, but that's 5% is illegal, and that's enough, right? I'm not trying to minimize what I did, but most of what I did was, you know, the vast majority, 95%, maybe even more, was legal. It wasn't like Bernie Madoff or one of these where they're just taking the money. This was like a legitimate firm taking companies public. We just were manipulating stock in this one moment, and that's enough.
Just a little bit.
I don't want to, again, I don't want to minimize. This is illegal. But I will say everyone else was doing it too at the big firms as well. And they all got in trouble in 2008 for doing the same shit and dog shit mortgages, same shit they were doing. Yeah, of course. But again, that doesn't make what I did any less bad. I'm just saying that it wasn't just me alone, but I got in trouble and I got what I deserved, right? And, but I got sober in 97, and that was before I got indicted. And once I got sober, I was like, oh my God, like, this is, you know. So it started then. And then when I got indicted, it was like everything, you know, it was like, you know, life is completely, you know, turned upside down, upheaval, right? Lost everything, divorced, my wife left, everything, you know. And I think what happens with people, like, you know, when you have values, and then, you know, how does a person change their values? Right. And it's very, very rare that someone just changes their values just because they want to change their values. Usually people change their values when something fucking really bad happens and you're like, whoa, well, this strategy ain't working. I need to change. Like you're saying, well, that didn't work very well. Like, I think I got it wrong. And then it becomes very easy. If you're smart and if you're an honest person and you're going to get honest with yourself, you're going to say, well, oh shit, that, you know, that strategy is not so good because it ended here. I need to re-examine, you know, the values I had. And frankly, I was raised well. I never broke the law before or after. So it was really getting back to the person I was before it started. So it wasn't that difficult once I started on that path. And then when I went to jail and started writing the book, and the book was like almost like therapy. It's like when I wrote this book so intensely about my inner thoughts, what I was thinking, why I was doing the things I was doing. And I think that really gave me a great insight into myself. And I think it changed me. And I think my transition was complete. By the time I left jail 2 years later, I knew I was never going to get in trouble again. It was like, it was impossible. I'm so careful now. I don't do anything that's against even close to the line. You know, I'm very careful.
Sure. And the day you got out of the prison, what was the first thing you did? I mean,
got a cheeseburger.
With Coke.
First thing I did when I got out of jail, my kids met me at the airport. I landed, I said, take me for a cheeseburger. And we went and got cheeseburgers, right? I was dying for a cheeseburger. And then I went, you know, and I had a house, I had a place set up to live in, right? And then I, you know, had a business, right? That was I had before that was very profitable, but it had gotten destroyed when I was in jail for 2 years. I came back and I said, you know, let me try to write this book. And I started writing the book. That's what happened.
Mm-hmm. How changed your rapport with the money after the prison? Your rapport with the money?
My
rapport?
No, your feeling.
Your relationship with the money after the prison.
Well, I've always loved money.
Okay.
You know, and I've always thankfully been able to make a lot of it, right? I think the difference this time was I didn't try to make it quickly. I was doing the first real money I made was writing this book, which took me a year to write. So like there was a massive amount of effort that went into making the money. So you value that money more because I worked so hard to make it, you know? Then in my second book as well. But I think also, you know, like I didn't feel the urge, like when I was younger, I felt it was so important for me to have a Ferrari Testarossa. Like things were so important to me when I was young. And now I just don't give a fuck.
Well, I mean,
I live.
Ferrari.
look at this.
No, I live in a beautiful home. I drive a nice car. Well, I don't drive very much, but I don't feel the compulsion to go out there and just buy, $100,000 watches and to do things because I think it makes me look cool.
Show up.
It doesn't. I mean, listen, but like I think a lot of that comes with age too. Like, because I think a lot of people like that when you're very young. I see it with kids now. That when they're young and they're making money and they're 20, they find 5 fucking cars. Yeah, and that's normal. I think a lot of people, you're playing out your adolescent fantasies.
It's like that, yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that, So I think that it's a combination of that. I got older and wiser, and also that I work really hard for my money and I value it more.